in fact. And guys, before we start, let us greet each other. So, how do we greet in German? We just say hello, which is equivalent to hello in in English, and then we just say our informal name, which is the first name, Sumita, and then we can say I come from this particular country. So, like aus here means from, and then Indian is the name. That is how we call India in German. Hello, Sumita from India, like that. So, like that, I would like to know what's your name and then where you come from. And this is the template you can follow. Okay, you can just say hello. You can type hello in chat, followed by your first name and then aus and then your country name. Okay, so while you do it, let me observe the chat window. Okay. Yeah. Hello, us Indian. Yeah. Okay. So I'll call you repeated starter then because you didn't mention your name. But then thank you so much for letting me know that you come from India. Okay, great. So let's move on, guys. And the agenda for today is, of course, the technical glitch was not expected. But apart from that, I just wanted to do a quick self introduction. Yeah, and then I wanted to set the scope of the course or the session. And yeah, of course, learning few A1 level sentence structures. And then we would, practice, different building your own sentences, I would say. And of course, at the end of the session, I would give a small test kind of thing. So that's just to check your learning. So followed by a quick recap of whatever we have learned in the session, and I'll open it for the questions, from your side. We'll also discuss the next steps and then what topics we need to cover or you guys want me to cover in the upcoming live sessions. Yeah, so let's get started. So as I said, um, as part of the live stream, I'm planning to cover only W-Frage, that is WH question, Ja-Nein Frage, that is yes-no question in English, and then how to build Aussagesatz. Aussagesatz is statement, and then Aussagesatz mit Zeit, just adding another information like time information, these things. Yeah. So before we proceed further, I'll give a quick introduction of myself, and also I would like to know where you stand with respect to your German learning journey. Of course, you are interested. That is the reason you are spending your Sunday evening along with me here. But then I'm more curious to know where you stand. Let me put a question here. Um, where are you in the German language learning phase? I would say you are a newbie, or maybe you know a little, you're A1 or you're A2, or maybe you're beyond that. Yeah, of course, revision for people who are beyond A2, I would say. And so typically this course is designed for A1, people who are doing their A1. Whether you've started or you are doing A1, yeah, so that's the thing. And yeah, let me know. There is so one vote for A1. Yeah, that is exactly the scope of this one. Like this is for A1 level people. But then for newbies, I do have, some. Tips I would say, so that the session go do not go away for waste, and then you will definitely have a takeaway. Yeah. So I'll just keep the poll open for probably another uh, like 4 more minutes, and then we can take on from there. We have a couple of newbies. Mhm. Okay, so while the polling is being done, let me just introduce myself. Hier stelle ich mich sehr gern vor. So here I introduce myself in German. So, hallo, ich heiße Sumita. Ich komme aus Indien. Hallo, I am Sumita. I come from India. Bin C1 zertifiziert und äh, über meinen Job als Deutschlehrerin seit 2020. I am C1 certified at Goethe Institute, and I have been teaching German since 2020. Früher habe ich meinen Job als Softwareentwicklerin geübt, so bei Siemens. So previously I had worked as a software developer, and that was in Siemens. And in fact, that is where I developed this passion of learning German language during my delegation at in Germany. So that's a little bit about me. For over 11 years, I was working in Siemens, and then I quit my job to pursue my passion. And since 2017, I work at Upwork, and I work with various clients from all over the world. Okay, great. I think we can, that was a quick introduction about myself, and then we'll end the poll now. So, as I see, most of them are newbies, and then there is one person from A1 as well. Yeah, great. So, let me start with because there are a few newbies, like you might not know the vocabulary or anything at all in German. So for you, what I advise is you can keep two links open, two websites open. Yeah, so I'll just post the link in the chat. So here are the links, guys. Just keep these two websites open. I'll tell you how to use them. Okay, so I hope you have kept them open. And so the first link is for verb conjugation. We know any sentence, what are the basic requirements of any sentence? Is the subject. The subject is the doer, the person who is doing some action, and then an action. Yeah? Subject and verb. Yeah? So these are the two basic things, basic prerequisites in order to build a sentence. And now comes the next question. What is the bare minimum you need to know in order to get quickly started building a sentence in any language, need not be German? Yeah, that is verb conjugation. And obviously, the follow up question is what is verb conjugation? So let's consider a sentence in English. Uh, Anna plays football, right? So play is the verb here, Anna is the subject here. Anna plays football. So what did you do? You just put S at the end of play, right? And then that is basically you're attaching some extra characters to the end of the verb, at the end of the verb. So that becomes plays. So for the same sentence, if I want to say, I play football. So now I just say play and not plays, right? So what I mean to say is, depending upon the subject, the verb needs to change. Yeah. So, and this change, how do we do it? By just adding few characters at the end. Okay, this is called verb conjugation. So, a bare minimum requirement in order to build a sentence is you need to know the verb conjugation. Okay, so I just have a quick slide showing how verb conjugation is done. Of course, it's a 1 hour topic, honestly speaking. But for newbies to get started, I'll give a kind of hint about because at the end of the day, the takeaway should be sentence building, right? So you should be able to build a sentence. But to build a sentence, the basic requirement is you need to know verb conjugation. So just a 5 minutes, hint about verb conjugation, and then we'll switch to sentence formation. Okay, so yeah, this is the verb construction. So basically, any word that ends with en is a verb. Verb is an action word, right? So in German, any word that ends with en is a verb, an action word. Okay, and it is said to be in its true form. In English, we call it as infinitive form of the verb. Yeah? And so this verb is it is having two constructs. Yeah? So the first thing here, this is if you take out en, whatever is remaining is the stem of the verb. Okay, and then en is common for all verbs. Yeah, it is just en everywhere for every verb. So en is called the endum, that is the ending, and then whatever remains, the remaining part is the stem of the verb. So in order to conjugate the verb, you need to take the stem of the verb. That's why I'm, hinting you how to find the stem of the verb. Yeah? So this is equivalent to play. Okay, and then the en here it changes with the subject, as I said. So now that we understand the stem of the verb, so let us say I want to say I come. Yeah? So how do I say I come in German? I is called ich, and then the verb to come is kommen. Yeah? Kommen. So this is the verb. So kommen is the verb, the infinitive form of the verb. Okay, so in the infinitive form of the verb, if we take out en, yeah, and what remains is kom. So the stem of the verb here is kom. Yeah, so now let us try to conjugate that. Okay, so that verb, that is the verb come, which is called kommen in German. Okay, so to various personal pronouns. That is I, you. How do I say I come? How do I say we come? They come? How do we do that? That is the conjugation we need to learn, right? So I come. How do we say that? So I means ish, okay, and then common is the verb, and we know com is the stem of the verb. Okay, so we have taken that, and then to that we need to add e. Ish, ish comma. Ish comma means I come. Similarly, du kommst. Du means you. Okay, so du kommst. How do we get that? Stem of the verb, add st to it. This is common for all the verbs. Yeah. So just need to take the stem of that verb, add st to it. And when do you do that? Only when the subject is du. Okay, du means you. Okay, so I means ish, du means you. Similarly, er, sie, es means he, she, it. So uh, for all these, the conjugation style is the same. Pattern is the same. Yeah, you just need to take the stem of the verb, add t to it. That's it. Yeah, er, er means he, come, which is the stem of the verb, and add T to it. Er kommt. He comes. Okay, so similarly, sie kommt. She comes. Es kommt. It comes. Okay, so that's the way we say in German. So similarly, if it is plural, this is all singular, right? I singular, you, he, she, it was all singular. So how about plural? Like, for example, wir. Wir means we all. How do you say we come? Yeah, so just need to take the stem of the verb, adding en to it. That's it. So wir kommen. That is we come. Similarly, ihr. Ihr means you all. Ihr kommt. Ihr kommt means you all come. So the plurals are wir means we all. Okay, come. Wir kommen. And then ihr means you all. H is silent, guys. Yeah? H in the middle of any word in German should be silenced. That's why I don't say ihr, but then I say ihr. Yeah? Ihr kommt. So how do we get ihr kommt? I just take the stem of the verb, add T to it. Ihr kommt means you all come. Sie means they again. Yeah. So here again, how do you say they come? Take the stem of the verb, add en to it. Yeah? So it's like sie kommen. They come. And finally, there is one more Z, but this is with capital S Z, not to be confused with this one. And this means you formally. Okay, so in English, English is very very optimized language, I would say. So Z, I mean, you means it could mean with respect, without respect. Yeah. But then here it is in German, it is quite clear. So if you have S capital Z, then it is you formal. And then how do you say you informal? So that is here, right? We learned here. Do. Do means you and then informal. Especially when you're speaking to small kids or with your peers or with your mates, then you use do. So that's the verb conjugation. So basically you need to identify the stem of the verb and then just follow the table. And so let us quickly do it for a couple of other verbs and then we'll get started with the questions and reply statements and all, building them. So I have spielen as the example here. Spielen means to play. And so I don't pronounce it as spielen, but then spielen. Yeah, so that is the pronunciation tip. That's the rule. In fact, SP in the beginning of any word needs to be pronounced as sp in German. Yeah? So how do I say I play? Ich spiele. So stem of the verb is spiel and then I added E. So ich spiele. I play. Du spielst. You play. See again stem of the verb and adding st to it. That is when the subject is du, you. Similarly, er, sie, es, he, she, it spielt. He, she, or it plays. Wir spielen. So we play. Ihr spielt. You all play. Sie spielen. They play or they play or you formally play that. Similarly, how do we do it for lernen? Lernen means to learn. And then how do I say I learn? Ich lerne. So guys, E at the end should be pronounced as a in German. Yeah? So lerne and not lernen. Yeah? So ich lerne, that is I learn. Du lernst, I learn, you learn. Er, sie, es lernt, he learns. Wir lernen, we learn. Ihr lernt, you all learn. Sie lernen, you formal learn. And so that's the way to, that was a very quick capsule, I would say, about verb conjugation. In fact, you need to, practice it for some time, yeah, until you get comfortable. But otherwise, just a hint so that, the newbies don't get lost here. Okay, so now is the time to switch back to W-Frage, that is a sentence structure. A sentence could be either a question or a statement, right? Again, in question, it could be an open question, it could be a kind of closed question, yes, no question. And so we'll learn all that today. But before that, I would like to ask you guys if verb conjugation was clear. Yeah, so, how did you find the verb conjugation? I see there is some lag here. Let me type, let me ask question. So, quick question, guys. Please answer it so that we can go ahead. Hmm. Okay, and I'm not sure if there's any technical glitch here. Okay, so let me end the question and answer, and then let us proceed with understanding the way Praga structure. Yeah, so that is the WH question. So once you know the verb conjugation, now the next thing is the next challenge for especially for newbies would be you need to know the vocabulary. Yeah, that is one more thing. So how do we do it? Right now, definitely you're newbie, you wouldn't know so many words. So what do we do? Then you can use the lingui, okay, and then you can ask it. Let me just quickly show you. So this is the online dictionary I would recommend, and it is by Lingual in the sense, for example, you want to know now how to ask what in German. So you just type the English word and then uh, you'll get the answers. So, so what is, I mean, in German we call it as was. And so, and there is also example of how to use it, and along with the translation as well. And that's we read about it. Another website which I have already posted would be useful to you is, the conjugator. This is Reverso website. Here you can go for conjugation tab and then choose German as the language. And then here, like for example, we learned about the verb spielen, right? Just type the infinitive up and then say conjugate, and here it is. Ich spiele, du spielst. You know the conjugation which we learned just now? So right now, as I said, you still need to practice because it's a new concept you learned just now. So for now, you can just use this website and then you can get to know the conjugation here. Any new verb as a best practice, you just need to come here whenever you learn a new verb. You need to come check its verb conjugation, learn it, and then that's the way. That's the best practice to learn a verb. Yeah? So you can get any word you want. Here you just type the English word and then you get the German word here. Yeah, the translation. Okay, and then if you want verb conjugation, you can come to reversal. Yeah, these are the two things, and with this, you will be able to successfully complete the live session. Yeah, okay, great. So let me go back and then share the PPT with you now. So, all you need to do, guys, as part of grammar is stick to the structure. It's fixed structure. There are few sides, like structures you just need to kind of get used to or memorize for that matter, and then it's all done. Yeah? For example, how do you build a W-Frage? That is a WH question. And what is WH question in English? What is your name? Where do you come from? Why are you angry? So all those are WH questions. Yeah, the question starting with open question starting with WH word. Okay, so that is called W-Frage. Frage means question in German, so it's a W-Frage. So you need to put the W-Frage word, that is the WH question word in the first position, and then you need to put the verb, the conjugated verb, yeah, here in the second position, and then the subject at the end of the sentence, followed by a question mark, of course, because it's a question. So this is the pattern you need to follow, and then you will quickly able to build a WH question. Yeah, it's as simple as that. And one more thing, guys. So there are some words which are explicitly, expressed in a question in English language, for example. So, where do you work? We say, where do you work? Do, the verb do is explicitly mentioned in the center, in the question, whereas in German, it is something implicit. So, in English, we would ask, where do you work? In German, we ask, where you work. That's all. The do is something implicit, or it's not there in German. Yeah, that the German way of asking is where work you. And exactly that's the pattern. It sounds weird initially because we are used to English, but then yeah, soon we'll get used to it. Another tip I wanted to share was in German there is no continuous tense, present continuous tense. So where are you working? That's like continuous tense, right? In the sense ing form of any verb, playing, dancing, listening, speaking, ing form. So that is continuous tense, and that is not there in German. So in German, we just resort to the simple, present tense, which is I do, I read, I play, I read, like that. Yeah? So these two concepts we need to keep in mind when we are building a German sentence. Okay, great. So let's begin with our first WH question. So I want to say when you work. Yeah? So when do you work? That is when you work. So how do I say? When is one. Yeah? So again, if you don't know how to say when in German, for vocabulary, you can refer the lingui and then you get to know. Yeah? So one, arbeitest. So basically, arbeiten is the verb here. And then I don't call it arbeiten, but then I just say arbeiten because that's the way we need to pronounce it. Yeah, so arbeiten is the verb. That means to work. So one means when, arbeitest, do. I have put st here. That is only because the subject is do. If the subject were ich, for example, then I would say arbeite, e at the end. So that is the verb conjugation we learned, right? You can just refer the table. One arbeitest du. Or the melody is one arbeitest du. Yeah? When you work, like that. And suppose I want to ask where do you come from? Yeah? So from in English we ask it as from where do you come? Yeah? Or in fact we ask from where are you coming? Like that in continuous tense. Whereas the same thing in German we ask as from where you come. That's all. And so how do we do that? Again, sticking to the same pattern. From where? How do we say from where? Woher. Yeah, so woher. And then kommst du. We know common is the verb to say come. So I've conjugated it as kommst because du is the subject. From where you come? Woher kommst du? Wann kaufst du? Your verb is kaufen. Kaufen means to buy, to purchase something. So when you purchase, that's the question. Similarly, was siehst du? So siehst, it's sehen is the verb here. After conjugation, it is looking like this. This is a irregular verb. That's what as part of verb conjugation we learned only simple verb conjugation. But if you go deeper, you'll also need to learn irregular verb conjugation. So sehen is one example for irregular verb. So you can watch my videos in my channel about the verb conjugation. There is a separate video for that. And there I have extensively covered along with proper examples, both the regular and irregular verb conjugation. Yeah, so I recommend that one. So yeah, coming back here, was siehst du? What you see, that. Yeah? Was tragen Sie? Tragen is a verb, it means to wear. And then was means what? We already know it. Sie, S capital, means you formal. So what are you wearing? Like that. So that's what in English. So what you wear in German. Was tragen Sie? So this is the sentence structure. The structure of a WH question. Whenever you want to pose an open question, you can very well use this. Yeah? So now, so let us practice this one. So now that you understand, so give me one W-Frage, one example, your own WH question. You can use, let me give you some example verbs and then you can just use them and yeah. So let me give the verb trinken. Yeah, trinken means to drink. Yeah, let me type the trinken means to drink. So how do you ask what you drink? Sorry for the typo, guys. Trinken means to drink. And then how do you say what you drink? Yeah, what do you drink? How do you ask what do you drink in German? So you know the sentence structures. Okay, so what is called was, and then the subject here is you, right? Do itself. Just need to use trinken and then conjugate it properly to do. That is, you need to add st at the end of the stem of the verb. So how do we say what you drink, guys? Super. Hallo Agatha. Guten Abend. Was trinkst du? Genau. That's all. Yeah, as simple as that. Okay. So let me ask another question. So for example, how do you say um, what um, so let me change the subject now. Yeah. So what does he cook? How do you ask what does he cook? Yeah. So sorry. I need to say kochen means to cook. And then how do you say how do you say what do you cook? Okay, sorry. What does he cook was the question, right? What does he cook? How do you say that? Genau, super. Okay. Then let's take another example. Um, so we have this verb. There are dedicated verbs in German, guys. Like for example, for tweeting, twittern. Yeah? So to tweet in Twitter, it is twittern. To type in Skype, to chat in Skype is Skypen. Yeah, like that. To have breakfast, it is Frühstücken, like that. So basically, there are specific verbs for each action. Whereas in English, we use very generic term, right? We take the help of a noun and then say do to it. Yeah, I do Skyping, I do tweeting, like that. So yeah, so let's say uh, Frühstücken. So this is a verb to have breakfast. So how do we say she um, she's having her breakfast? How do we say? Ah, sorry. Um, when does she have her breakfast? Like that. We are talking about WH question, W-Frage. So when does she have breakfast? How do we ask it? So when, what is the verb? I mean the word to say when, it is one, right? And then Frühstücken is the verb. I've already typed it in chat. So you need to conjugate it. And then I want to say ask when does she, that is Z. She is Z, right? S-I-E-Z. S lowercase letter. So when does she have breakfast? So how do we say that? We need to conjugate the verb Frühstücken for she, that is Z. Anspruch Sie. Ja, genau, super. Okay, I think yeah, so we are quite comfortable framing a WH question. Let us go ahead with a yes no question. So so again here guys the sentence structure changes a little in the sense you need to put the verb first and then the subject and then the object. Of course you need to follow with a question mark. So it's like these are yes no questions in English we asked, right? So do you listen to music? So as I said, do is something explicitly mentioned in English, whereas it is implicit in German. It is not, you know, like mentioned, it is understood. So do you listen to music? So that is in English. And how do we say that in German? Hörst du Musik? So verb in the first position, that is a conjugated verb, and you conjugate it according to the subject. And then, of course, the object. Yeah. So similarly, kocht er super. Super means soup, and then kochen is the verb here, means to cook. Das sie cook so. Macht ihr Sport? So you all play sports like that. And then spielst du Volleyball? You play volleyball like that. So you can use like, for example, um, uh, do you drink cola? So how do we ask that in German, guys? Do you drink cola? So you know, trinken is the verb here. So how do you ask? Do you drink cola in German? So for those who are newbies here, as I said, you might be finding it definitely difficult because you're just for you. I think you should take it like you're getting a feel of what German is. How does it sound and look? And as I said, you need to hang on to this. Just hold on to the sentence structures, and you can refer lingui to get the word. Yeah? So even though I have been saying it's not easy to catch just with one, just with 15-20 minutes, it's difficult to, German itself is relatively a little difficult, I would say. I shouldn't say this, but then, yeah. So for those who are totally new to German, yeah, so you can just search for the equivalent word in Lingui, and then you can use reverso for the conjugation, and then you just stick to the sentence structures. Okay, so guys, how do we ask then? Okay, yeah, I'm not sure if it is a little overwhelming, but then, uh, yeah. So basically, you just need to use the verb trinken, right? So drinks to cola, you can say like that. Yeah? Drinks to cola, drinks to beer, like that you can ask. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I think we will just wind up with this much for today. I know it is in this session, majorly there are newbies. Ideally, the session was for like A1, people pursuing A1, so more of practicing various sentence structures. That was the thing. But yeah, having said that, we started a little later because of the technical glitch. I am really sorry for that. Yeah. Okay, I think we can wind up the session for today. But guys, in the next session, I want to cover, like, in fact, I have things ready, but I think it's extending beyond the planned, time frame. So yeah, let's have a fresh session, live session. So in the next session, I'll be teaching you guys, or we all will be learning and together practicing how to build a reply statement, and then slowly, try to do some add some extra information to that. Like for example, uh, you want to insert time information, you want to use negation over there, you want to insert place information over there. So where do you add it and how do you add it? And again, maybe you want to emphasize something. So how do you, if the pattern is different, if you want to emphasize some particular thing, or you just want to, throw some time information or place information as a normal information, and you don't want to, emphasize that. So then what is the structure? All that we will learn in the next live stream. And yeah, so that's it. For today. I wanted to check your learning, guys, by this small task. Um, so, but then I think it doesn't make sense because we haven't learned the sentence structures. So I'll keep this and I'll put another slide here that to check your learning. This is, just a hint because you've already seen now. So the question is, was machst du heute? What do you do today? So you should be able to express that. Even with those simple sentence structure learning, you will be able to beautifully, express whatever you have done on that day, yeah? In present tense. Yeah. So you will be able to do that, but then we'll do it in the next live stream. Um, and of course, I'll have extra slides here to check your learning. Yeah. So that's it for today. Any questions here, guys? Yeah, drinks one cola. Yeah. Agatha has answered. I saw it just now. Okay. Guys, if you have any questions, you can type in. And for the next session, I have already mentioned. Um, so, as a prerequisite, probably I can say go through the vocabulary. Uh, so that is very important, as you see here. Whoever is newbie, especially. Um, Yeah, so you have to go through the vocabulary. And then where do you find the vocabulary? I have a podcast where you can, learn the vocabulary for free. And it is learn. So let me just type it or send you the link. So this is the one. It is available on Spotify and all other, major platforms. You can learn vocabulary for free. So, when it comes to language learning, guys, vocabulary learning is, I weigh that high, in fact, more than the grammar itself, because it's all about language we're learning. It's just what is a basic thing there we should be able to communicate to others. Yeah, it need not be in a very structured way. I mean, of course, it's always beautiful to have in a very structured and flowing way, to build sentences. That's great. Having said that, but vocabulary stands, at the top according to me. So, and again, when it comes to vocabulary, it's not just learning vocabulary with the pronunciation influenced by our mother tongue, which is a normal thing which I see among my students. So, what I recommend is you should have a near native accent. If you're learning any language, the accent learned should be near native to that. That justifies your effort towards or your interest towards learning a language. And how do you get that? In the podcast, the audios are designed in such a way that in the a native speaker speaks out a word and then followed by some 5 to 10 seconds pause. Okay, during that pause, you need to repeat it. And after the pause, the meaning of that word is told. And so that is the see, it's the same thing that happens, and that is very good way. In fact, I learned all the verbs like that, all the words like that. I would say the entire vocabulary, and that's why I can speak near native accent, and I can also remember it for a long time because it's after all podcast, right? I just plug in my headphones and then whatever I'm doing, whether I'm jogging, whether I'm like doing my household activity, I just put on the headphones and then just listen, listen, repeat, and do your work. Wherever you don't need to put your brain, use your brain, just, yeah, in the background, it keeps on going. So that's one advice from my side. Uh, but if you also want, very comprehensive course about vocabulary, um, with slides showing the spellings also, which is actually the perfect way of learning, then I have my course with the same name. You can search in Udemy, and then there is this A1 bundle. So you can just buy that. There'll be a lot of sales going on. Just watch out and then buy it whenever there is a sale. And yeah, that's it. I think it's a matter of some 20 days. I think I've discussed, the steps to follow and how to consume those audios, everything in the course. That is also available. And regarding the grammar, my YouTube channel is there. Whenever I find time, I like come up with some topic which students find very difficult to understand, and then I put it. Like the most requested topic was accusative dative. So that video is also there. You can just watch them, and yeah, if you need, if you have further requests, you can just put your comments in one of my videos, and then I'll get to know. Yeah, and of course, my email ID is there. You can also reach out. Okay, so yeah, of the session today. Thank you so much for joining. It means a lot to me because it's Sunday evening, and then still you guys have put your effort and time and then engaged with me here. Thank you so much. And then have a great day. Schönen Tag noch. Bis Leute. Bis morgen.